News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Making a preset, y'all. 800-288-9227 is our number. 800-288-WBAP. We have three lines open. We're talking about South Lake Carroll ISD tonight, considering arming their school employees, teachers, counselors, janitors, you name it. They're going to do it. They have psychological counseling, or not counseling, but tests, background checks, psychological tests, shooting qualifications. It gets vetted by the school board. They pick and choose who it is. So if South Lake Carroll ISD is doing this, and I heard in the last hour from one of our great callers that Melissa ISD does this already, the more of our Metroplex school districts do this, the more others will want it. Break down the freaking walls. Break down the freaking walls. Come on, let's do this. Do you want your kids' teachers and other school district employees to be armed? Does this make you want to have your district armed? Hearing that others in the Metroplex, some of the best there are in North Texas, like South Lake Carroll ISD, I think is the best, are doing it or considering it. Does it give you more confidence in your child's safety if they do this, or less? And if you don't like this option, what would you like to see? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I've always said that the best thing we could do is arm our teachers and the faculty. I think it's wonderful. They love these kids. And let's go to your call, though. We have three lines open, 800-288-WBAP. Let's see here. First, let's go which one first, Mike? Mike and Selma first. Mike, Selma, I can't talk tonight. Mike and Selma, hi, welcome to WBAP.
Well, Chris, you're not alone. I'm having a hard time talking as well.
But it's my job to talk. I got 25 years or more experience in this, and I still can't talk. Let that be known. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, man, that's okay. You talk and I'll listen, but right. I do have something to say.
Yes.
First of all, I agree 100%. I think the Selma Shirts ISDs, I think their teachers need to be armed. Okay, this is a small community just north of San Antonio, Texas, where I live.
Oh, so Selma is actually in Texas. I was thinking Selma, Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, so you live in the.
I've been there too.
You live in
Selma. Yeah.
You live in the San Antonio metropolitan area.
Yep. Yeah.
That's fantastic, brother.
And so I have a question. So I think it was John a few minutes ago mentioned something about carrying AR-15s, and I have to agree with you when you say, yeah, this is a weapon that, although very accurate, and they can go through walls. Okay, and so my question would be: is there any rule in play that would prohibit them from carrying such weapons like a PCC, like a 9mm rifle?
What's a PCC? A 9mm?
Okay, it's a pistol caliber carbine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Where it's a rifle, but it's a pistol at the same time, kind of a thing. I think I've seen those. Yeah,
it kind of is. And as a matter of fact, there's a couple of makers that make them foldable, where they're compact. There's one that actually folds down. There's a couple of them that fold down to 16 inches and that would fit in a desk.
Wow, that's interesting.
Is there anything? Yeah, and is there any rule that says you cannot have one of those in the classroom?
I don't know, but for me personally, I'm okay with the 9mm handgun. I mean, look, I conceal carry; it's what I carry, and
me too.
To me, and I'm glad you do too, brother. So, to me, I have mine has 12 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber.
Yep,
13 is more than enough for me. But if you're a teacher that does that, you probably have an extra magazine or two with you, maybe if you can, due to the circumstances. But I really think that 9mm handguns more than enough. If they let 40s, that's great. If they let 45s, that's even better. But
I agree with you. But somebody mentioned, I think it was the caller after.
Yeah, the
John
firepower.
Said, what if someone needed to go out into the hallway for whatever reason. I'm just playing scenarios, okay? And you and I know that as far as accuracy, for me anyway, okay, if I'm wielding something that I could brace up against my shoulder, I think I could get better shots off. Well, in a scenario like that, okay, I'm not talking about, sitting in the classroom waiting. I agree with you on that. I do not disagree with you on that at all.
I just think that, talk about shooting down a hallway and the accuracy. I think how many hallways are longer than 40 feet? I mean, how we're splitting hairs, I think, worrying about the distance. And I think we're really splitting hairs worrying about the shooter having the AR-15 and maybe our teachers only have a 9mm. I really think it's irrelevant. I think the idea is to be able to shoot a firearm at the person that will effectively stop the threat or kill them, stop the threat,
And once again, I don't disagree with you. I'm in full agreement. It was just a question. I was just curious if there's anything that would prohibit that.
Yeah, and as far as that's a good question. It's a fair question. As far as accuracy, I personally don't think it's relevant because this isn't long distance shooting in 9.9 times out of 10. How long is the school hallway and such? I do appreciate your very good call, Mike, and I'm grateful to have you from the San Antonio metropolitan area.
Hey, I appreciate that. You have a good day.
You too, brother. Okay, let's go to Daniel in Denton. Daniel, WBAP. Hello, what do you got?
Hey, brother, it's been a while. So I've been a teacher. Let me give you where I'm coming from before I say what I'm going to say. I've been a teacher for 25 years. I'm an avid shooter. I've given this entire thing a lot of thought. Let me start from the onset. I'm not opposed to teachers being armed. For me personally, I've thought about this a lot. And the way our school is structured, in the mornings when the kids are part of the kids go to the gym, part of them go to the cafeteria, they all get released at the same time, going to the different hallways. You have a pinch point where there's probably anywhere from 50 to 60 kids in that one area. And I've thought about that. What would happen if that's actually where you're most vulnerable to have somebody come into the building.
Yes.
Would I want to be the one that had the responsibility in that situation? And I don't know that I would. Another thing I've thought about is all it takes is one screw up where you leave that gun sitting out, going to the restroom, whatever it takes. It takes one mistake. And then the last thing is, with the people are concerned about shooting through walls and stuff like that. Number one is I'm almost 100% positive that teachers that carry firearms have to use frangible rounds, meaning that the round itself explodes on contact.
Right.
So you don't.
That's probably like an air marshal's gun.
Yes, you don't have any pass through with that. I'm not saying I'm opposed.
But by the way, the idea of the shooting through walls had nothing to do with the kind of guns per se. It's just saying that I was using that as an example to one of my dear people in my life who's law enforcement and such, who's trained me on a lot of things. And he's like, hey, when we had a felon running loose in my neighborhood, and there were state troopers and locals, several local departments in my neighborhood for the first time in my life, because we live in a very good neighborhood. I saw them in behind my house in the alley and driving all over the place in our neighborhood. I was like, my wife and I, she was like, she didn't want me grabbing my AR. And the person I mentioning, they're like, don't use your AR, dude. It'll go through your neighbor's house and kill your neighbor. I'm like, okay. So just use your 9mm. I'm like, okay. That was me just being, stupid. So
can I tell you one real quick thing?
Yeah.
One of the things they train us on is that, and this is one of the things that the state of Texas has done very well, it is state law that every classroom has to be locked all the time. The FBI statistics show that there's never been a death caused by somebody shooting through a wall. And the reason why is the people that want to shoot these places up, they want a target to see.
Yeah, because they want. It's a thrill. It's that I call it satanic thrill, and what the nature of what's happening to them is very wicked and evil, and I think satanic for these school shootings.
So I'm not opposed to it. I just think, for me personally, and I love to shoot, I would think long and hard and pray a long time before I decided to make that choice.
You know what? I love what you've done. You've introduced something, and I appreciate that. And also, listen, I mean, to me, you are you have quite a command of when you're talking about things and such. I really am impressed with how you handle yourself here and what you're saying. But yeah, absolutely. And look, you said, I don't know if I would. And to me, if you wouldn't feel comfortable, then that'd be the answer. And so I think that people would be weeded out that way as one way. And then you also said if people make one mistake, you're thinking about that Capitol Police officer that the Democrats called a hero, who left his firearm, his department issued firearm, left it in the men's bathroom with no safety on it, locked and loaded in a bathroom stall, because that's the kind of caliber of police that idiot is. But as far as how they do it, I don't know the nitty gritty, but I'm going to guess they're carrying it on their person, and you don't take it out of there unless you're in the middle of that kind of an emergency.
Right.
Is my guess. So
you have to have it against your body, where that's why the whole deal with the ARs and the rest is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I wouldn't want anybody who removed their gun from their person and left it somewhere, because that's an idiot that shouldn't have a firearm as a private citizen. Mm-hmm. Make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, brother. Thank you very much.
Well, let me just say this too, also, and you and me just swapping info and thoughts. I think of you, and I'll think of me without thinking, and I don't take out my firearm at all unless it is in my home to put it away, or to put it on me, or to put it in something that I rarely carry in a separate thing, with me during certain times. Very rare. So yeah, so if I leave it out somewhere, it's going to be in my house.
Sure,
and I don't do that except for sometimes because I'm being lazy, but my children are 18 and 21 and have fired and et cetera.
Right.
No little kids. When I have those little kids, not only do I keep it in my lock safe or on my person, but I also, because we do have some little kids over sometimes from our beloved friends who bring them over for us to watch or to be, they're with us when they're here. And I purposely close my bedroom door so they can't even get into the room, even though it's locked up in a safe in there. I don't want them in my room.
Do it, man.
Yeah. All right, brother. All right, man. Thank you. You're an awesome caller, Daniel. It's been too long. Keep calling. All right.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. All right, we got Jim in Iowa and Graydon in Keller. You guys are next on the Chris Crock Show. And the more we delve into this together, the more awesome this conversation is. So keep calling in. We got 3 lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. South Lake Carroll ISD is considering tonight arming school teachers. Melissa does it. Other area school districts do. Does this make you want to have your teachers and or faculty armed? Does it give you more confidence? Would it give you more confidence to know they're armed? And if you don't like this option, what would you like? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. We're going to get into that next. I'll give you more details on what training they will have if South Lake Carroll ISD passes this. It's also in conjunction with the state laws for concealed carry, which we've had teachers being able to be armed and faculty being able to be armed for years. There's hundreds of school marshals is what the technical term is for the state. There's hundreds of them all over the state of Texas already. So have you heard of one bad episode? No. You know why? Because school shootings are extremely rare. They're the same frequency as getting hit by lightning, a child getting hit by lightning. So if you're afraid of a school shooting, make sure you get your child a lightning suit. You can get them online at Amazon for $5,000, I'm sure, right? A nice lightning suit. They can wear it every day, even if it's sunny out. Hey, it's like a school shooting. I'm terrified of it. Put that lightning suit on, son. Oh, Mom, but it weighs 100 pounds. Put it on, son. It's like wearing the snow pants. Growing up in the Midwest, my mom made me wear snow pants. I'm like, dude, that's so embarrassing and uncool. Oh, my gosh. That was a nightmare. But that's another story. All right, coming up next, 800-288-WBAP is our number. 3 lines open, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Carroll ISD, South Lake Carroll, what's wrong with me? ISD looking at arming the teachers for tonight's meeting. They're looking at it, they're debating it for a possibility, arming up to 10 employees. What they would do is say up to 10 employees, they can make arrests, exercise the same authority given to peace officers, but only to the extent of preventing serious harm or death to anybody on campus. They would be selected selected based on prior military or law enforcement service. Their identity would be confidential. They'd carry a concealed 9mm weapon loaded with approved ammo provided by the district. They'll receive a stipend, and the district will also pay all training and equipment, undergo psychological, physical evaluation, and it'll bring more protection than one school resource officer stationed at most schools. I remind you that 4 to 8 minutes is the average amount of time it takes for them to show up. Do you want your kids' teachers and other school district employees armed? Does it give you more confidence in your child's safety, or somehow less confidence? I don't know how, and if this option is not good for you, what would you like to see? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227, 3 lines open. Let's go first to Graydon in Keller. Hello, Graydon.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. And by the way, I should say you're on WBAP. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks. I'll say this. The bottom line is this: like when it comes to shootings and stuff, statistically, I would say that anyone that's went through the conceal and carry class in Texas, not only have they went through extensive background checks and mental health evaluations, I would guess anyone that has a state and or federal carrying license is probably less than 1%. Where they would discharge a firearm maliciously. Well,
I can tell you this:
they would be protecting or whatever. People that are out there with guns that are stolen are killing people all the time.
Well, I'll tell you this: they have studied it for 20 years after it was passed by George W. Bush, and they found that people like me, I don't know if you have a concealed carry, but people like me are 12 times less likely to commit a crime. Cops are very happy when they pull over somebody that has a license to carry. It means they're very safe.
Yeah, well, they're 12 times less likely to commit a crime.
Yeah, right.
I would like to see a realistic statistic on how unlikely they are to fire a firearm maliciously.
If you're
to defend themselves,
I got to roll great on, but I appreciate your call. Well, if you're 12 times less likely to commit a crime, you're a lot less likely to misuse it. Jim in Iowa, quickly, sir, you're on WBAP.
Okay, just want to get an opinion. They got a gun now. They'll shoot up to 60 feet. It's some kind of a tear gas. All you got to do is get close. It stops the guy. It's like for 40 minutes. Would that work?
You want to shoot tear gas at somebody that will also hit your students?
It's better than kids getting shot with a bullet.
Well, they're going to get shot with a bullet, and it'll be random instead of it'll be random. I would rather shoot them with a bullet, hit them with a bullet to stop them, than tear gas, which won't necessarily stop them at all.
This stuff does. I hear it advertised all the time.
So you can't squeeze your finger on a trigger when you're suffering from that hitting you? You can't just randomly shoot while you're going, If you have your hand on the gun, you're still going to keep shooting round and round. You're going to hit people.
I hear it advertised. It says it stops everybody for 40 minutes. Is this an idea?
Well, okay. I appreciate your idea. Thank you. Well, why don't cops carry that with them then? It would work every time. No, because you shoot to stop the threat. Tear gas doesn't stop the threat. You can actually look it up on your own to people getting tear gassed and watch them respond to law enforcement and still go at them. Look up on the line people getting shot with a taser and still either not hitting right, or if it hits right, they still can react and attack and do violent things. No, thank you. That doesn't stop a threat. It might, but I don't want to do things when somebody's shooting at me. I want to do things that will stop the threat. I appreciate your call, sir. Up next, Donald Trump preparing to use the military to carry out mass deportations. Are you okay with this? That's up next. Chris Kroc Show at 33 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, yeah. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. It is very, very exciting to tell you about Trump. First of all, the impetus for this new round of stories on this is as follows. Trump, here it is, Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch. He's a huge Trump fan and a conservative guy. He tweeted out or put on True Social, that Trump was prepared to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse Biden's invasion through a mass deportation program. To which President-elect Trump said, by the way, doesn't that sound good to say President-elect Trump? I talked to a friend of mine today who is at my local awesome place that I go to get my toys for my lawn. I talked to him today. We haven't talked in a while, maybe 4, 5, 6, 8 months. And he's like, oh, my gosh, aren't you happy? I said, oh, I sure am. My gosh, thank you, God. Anyway, yes, he's going to do several things. He's going to end the parole program for Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Venezuela. He's going to use military funds for law enforcement officers. He's going to use military funds. He's going to use obscure laws. This is from leftist Axios. And use law enforcement officers from all levels of government. Thank you. This is so good. But I want to tell you, some people, even some Chris Crock Show regular listeners for years that are, calling in regularly and agree with me most of the time, mostly most of the time, have called in, a couple of them lately, and said they don't want to see these mass deportations because they work with people that are illegal or they like them or this and that. And I want you to think about that Trump is literally saying military bases or military prisons or bases will be used as staging places. I want you to think about Trump saying that there's going to be regional mega centers across this country. Many of them are going to be outside of sanctuary cities, so they can round them up and dump them right in there and get them out. And also, he has said previously there's going to be massive camps along the border where they'll just make these mega tents and they'll have hearings, they'll have them in detention, and they'll bring them there when they round them up all across the country, and they will be fed, cared for properly, humanely, but then also they will be in front of judges and they will be adjudicated in short time, and then they'll either weigh out the remainder of their time paid out in detention in these centers or will be deported the heck out of this country. So I want to know if you're okay with that. I want to know if you're okay. And by the way, there's another thing I want to add to this. I was listening to the great one. Mr. Producer, you big dummy. Get off of my phone. I was listening to him this weekend on his weekend show on Fox News, which is Life, Liberty, and Levin. The Liberty Amendment. The Liberty Amendment. Anyways, he talked about that book yesterday, and he talked about, do you know why being born, birthright citizenship, do you know why we have birthright citizenship? This is going to blow you away. It is not because our founders or our countrymen previous to us thought it was good to make anchor babies. It was not. This blew me away. I didn't know this. It was for after slavery, after the Civil War, African Americans needed to be U.S. citizens, and which is a righteous thing to do. And so they did birthright, meaning if you were born here, you're a citizen. But it was not for illegals to come here. It was for black people who were brought here and enslaved, wrongfully enslaved, to say, hey, you are a citizen. Yes, you are. You are entitled to the rights and privileges that we enjoy as civilians, U.S. citizens. You are one. So that's great. Slavery is not still going on, except for Joe and Kamala's illegals they're bringing in to be slaves in our factories, including child slaves and sex slaves, which is why I'm against it, among many other reasons. But he talked about birthright citizenships. That should be ended. That should have been a sunset anyways, 20 years or 30 years and it sunsetted. But it wasn't, so that's got to end. And then chain migration, where you can end up bringing 20, 30, 40 people down the road. End those. So I want to ask you, do you support using our military to deport the millions of Biden-Harris illegals? This would be like using the deuce and a half military trucks, drive them to and fro, bring them in, using maybe guardsmen as well. Who knows? Do you support using our military to deport the millions of Biden-Harris illegals, including our military bases and vehicles? Do you believe our military actually belongs in this role? And I do, by the way, because this is an invasion from 181 countries of foreigners, including our enemies, including Islamists who are going to kill us, that are in this country already, led in by Joe and Kamala, including Tren de Agua. They're all threats to us, domestic threats and foreign threats. And do you think this could lead to a war along the border with the cartels? Because he is going to explicitly, rabidly go after the cartels. I do have a piece of audio from Trump saying that today. He's going to unleash the military on the cartels. So do you support ending birthright citizenships? Do you think this could lead to a war along the border with the cartels? Do you believe our military actually belongs in this role? And do you support using our military to deport the millions of Biden-Harris illegals, including our bases and vehicles and any other military things that he uses? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. You know, this is lines wide open, by the way. Chime in right now. We got several minutes to put you on. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. As Axios rightly says today, this is one of the cornerstones of Trump's campaign. This was the top issue for him, first or second top issue for him. This is not a mystery. This is not some kind of a thing like, whoa, I'm shocked. This is what he promised to do. We put him in office in the large, you know, that Trump got, I didn't know this till today. First of all, he's now at 76 million, not 74, not 75 million. He got over 76 million votes. Second of all, do you know that no Republican in history of our country has ever gotten that many votes? So this man, and you know that he won the young vote. Joe Biden won the young vote 4 years ago by 20 points. Trump won up by 2 points this time. He won the young vote. And he won the majority of Hispanic male votes. Massive Hispanic movements. And by the way, the biggest movements in who voted for Trump this time around, the biggest swing towards Trump are in the bluest of the blue states. New York, Massachusetts, California. I think Illinois as well. Oh, New Jersey. New Jersey went like 10 or 11 points more for Trump this time. New York, it went 10 or 11 points more. Massachusetts, similarly. California, same numbers. This is what he said he would do. This is why he's going to do it. And this is why I want him to use our military. Yes. Because many of you guys are saying, no way. There's no way he's going to be able to deport 11 to 16 million people. And I'm telling you, yes, he will. He's going to start with the bad guys. But also, listen to this. You need to understand Tom Homan, who's put in charge of this whole thing as the border czar. That is his title. Who's our former ICE head? I think he was ICE or DHS head or whatever. But Tom Homan said that if you're here illegally but you're not a criminal, you need to watch your back too. You're on notice. Watch your back. They're coming for you. And I think that's great. Do you know what the statistics are on Americans, how many Americans support this? Mass deportations, not only the criminals, but mass deportations. What percentage of Americans, black, white, independents, and others support this? It'll shock you what I have for you on that coming up next. And you'll find out if you're against these mass deportations, are you in the minority? Could you be? Interesting. You'll find out coming up next. Also, we know a lot more about Laken Riley's accused murderer. A lot more. And none of it is good. It's worse. That we're hearing more today in the testimony of that trial in Georgia today, in Athens, Georgia, on News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3. Lines wide open. Chime in now. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227.
And how did you get to Athens?
¿Y cómo llegaron a Athens?
En Nueva York pedimos en Manhattan.
In New York, we asked in Manhattan.
En el Hotel Roosevelt.
And Hotel Roosevelt. Roosevelt.
De Manhattan pedimos un vuelo humanitario aquí hasta Atlanta.
In Manhattan, we requested for a humanitarian flight to come here to Atlanta.
And when was that?
¿Y cuándo fue eso?
Como el de 9 a 10 de septiembre.
Around the 9th, 10th of September.
And where did you go when you arrived in Athens?
Y cuando llegó a Athens, ¿a dónde fue?
Al aeropuerto airport.
To the airport.
Al aeropuerto de Atlanta.
Airport.
Jackson Airport.
We flew with our tax dollars, thanks to Joe and Kamala, we flew Laken Riley's. He would attempt to rape her and murder her because she wouldn't let him rape her. We paid for his flight from New York to here. We said, yes, rape our young lady who's 22 and studying to be a nurse to care for people like you. Rape her and murder her if she won't go along with it. When the police officer that testified in Laken Riley's trial today and on Friday, when he testified, when he arrived on that scene, her shirt was pulled up above, her breasts were exposed. Her underwear and her pants were pulled down. But she was not raped. She spent up to 20 minutes fighting off this Biden-Harris illegal that came in through El Paso, approved. Biden-Harris said, you come in. You're going to murder our 22-year-old daughter? You're going to rape her? Come on in. And he was arrested in New York, which is Sanctuary City, as you know. He was arrested for, I'll make sure I get the thing right here. He was arrested for acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17 and a motor vehicle license violation. Whereupon New York, of course, said, go free. Got to finish the job, kill somebody, rape somebody. And then we paid for them to fly over here. And by the way, we, of course, paid for their way to get there, too, to New York. He hunted. He dressed up with gloves, rubber gloves, and a hat to hunt and kill and rape a woman. He also was charged with, earlier that morning before he killed Laken Riley, to try to rape her, according to the prosecutors. He also tried to break into an apartment or a student housing for a grad student. She was in the shower. She heard somebody trying to get into the door. He was peeping Tom. He was doing a peeping Tom on her, and he tried to get in there to rape her. Didn't happen. So he went and finished the job somewhere else. This is who Joe and Kamala let in. And this is who every single person, whether you're a rapist or not, I don't care. Get the heck out of this country. Do you support using our military to deport the millions of Biden-Harris illegals, including our military bases and vehicles? Do you support using our military to attack and kill and stop the cartels in Mexico? Do you believe our military actually belongs in this role since it's a foreign invasion? And do you think this could lead to war along the border with the cartels? I don't think so. We're the most powerful military in the world. No. And do you support ending birthright citizenships? I do. Your thoughts. 4 lines open. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Joe in Fort Worth. Hello. What's up, WBAP? Hello.
Yes, sir. I am totally in favor of having our military use for this, give them practical experience before they actually have to go to war. And every time I get these surveys, I get them several times a month from different people, congressmen and so forth, and I fill out these surveys. And I always put in there in writing that we need to stop the anchor babies, and we need to put our military bases, our training bases, down within 100 miles of that border.
Yes.
And use them to patrol. They got practical experience. They can catch, arrest, lock them up in the brig, hold them until they want to do something with them. But I am totally, I would have loved to have done that when I was in.
Oh, when you were in the military.
Yes, sir. My son was too. We're both veterans.
I think we have a big base in El Paso, and we also have a base, I don't know which one it is. Yeah, Bliss is El Paso. Thanks, Producer Garrett. We also have border. We have I don't know exactly where, but I believe it's along the border, very close to the border. It's on the border of Texas and New Mexico, somewhere in that area. There's another base there. I don't know if it's a Air Force or what it is. I know the illegal, the hundreds of thousands or the tens of thousands of Afghanis that were brought in that were rapists and all sorts of people. One of them raped one of our women soldiers at that base, but I'd like to see them all turned into these holding facilities for all these illegals, every one of them. You're darn right. I appreciate your call, and thank you for your service, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. A couple of things also I want to share with you on this. One of these fools, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, their chairperson came out and she said, she claimed that mass deportations would have a negative impact on the U.S. economy. Dude, we spent, I thought it was $150 billion. I heard over the weekend it's actually $190 billion on Fox News in 1 year for all these illegals. I don't care how much it costs. Trump has said the cost is not a factor in this. There is no cost factor, and there darn well better be. And by the way, better not be. And by the way, Fox News poll, 67% of all registered voters, 67% of all registered voters favor a policy of deporting illegals back to their home countries. You are in the minority. I mean, dude, you're literally one of the 33% of people don't want to do mass deportations. Get out of the way and let us do our job. This is what Trump ran on. It's his cornerstone, and we wanted it. Get these people out of here. Jose Ibarra, the terrorist, by the way, he is confirmed to be a member of Tren de Aragua. Lake and Riley's accused murderer and rapist is confirmed to be Tren de Aragua. And her Garmin watch, Lake and Riley's Garmin watch, a Christmas present she used for running, and her iPhone determined she placed a 911 call at 9:11, minutes after she left for her run at 9:03. She fought for her life for at least 17 minutes until her heart stopped at 9:28 because she wouldn't let this man rape her. His brothers Diego and Argenis are also illegals. Diego had a fake green card, and he's also Tren de Aragua. Diego showed false ID, 2 separate birth dates to the police when they showed up to investigate his brother being a rapist and murderer potential. In 2023, they got their what do they call it? Their humanitarian flight that we paid for from Manhattan to Georgia to finish the job on beautiful Laken. And his wife, in a prison call to his wife, this monster has a wife. She says she thinks it's crazy they don't have anybody else's DNA. They only have his. She says she doesn't understand how someone can see someone dying and not call 911. Well, he didn't see her dying. He killed her. You married a murderer, a monster. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Biden approves Ukraine's use of long-range missiles inside Russia. North Korea, it's because North Korean troops are there on the ground. Do you support letting Ukraine fire long-range missiles now into Russia right before Trump takes over? I have a lot to say on that. I'm sure you do too. Next on the Chris Crock Show at News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-9227 is our number.